line. Over there, over there. Send the word over there. That the Yanks are coming, the Yanks are coming. The drums coming everywhere. So prepare, say a prayer. Send the word to beware. We'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't come back till it's over, over there, over there, over there. Send the word over.
Hey everybody, this is Joshua Luttrell. Thank you so much for joining us on the Honor Across Arms podcast. Today is our esteemed guest Shane CRONLEY as a follow-up to his first podcast. Shane, how are you doing, sir?
Oh, doing pretty good. How's things your way?
Oh man, going great. You know what? We were kicking ass on our last podcast and really loved it, and we were in a great groove. Let's go right back there. So you get orders and you get a call from your commander and you're on leave. How did you freak out?
Yeah, I was pretty excited. So after I talked to her on the phone the next morning, I went over to headquarters there, talked to her. Basically kind of the same to you that I think the commander gives all. I hate to see you go, glad you're going, that you're happy, big adventures. And so 4 months, I had to wait 4 months before I got orders to Japan, or before I was able to leave for Japan. And basically I was just waiting, hanging out, finally get to Japan. The training chief picks me up and just drives me around the base, takes me to the fire station, and as I'm walking in the fire station, there's a guy who just yells CRONLEY, and I look up, and it was a guy I was stationed with in Ohio. There's a lot of these big bases. There's 5, 6, 7 different fire stations, spread out, several miles, and you may see a fellow firefighter on your ship maybe once a year, and that might be at the Christmas party. And That was the thing with this guy, Airman Walls was his name. I knew him. He was a great guy. We talked, but we didn't hang out because we were at different fire stations, and the only time we saw each other was maybe at the Christmas party and a training event. And so when I saw him, big hug and talked to him, and he's like, "Hey, I'll catch you later today. I'll take you out and show you around the town, around the base, outside the base." So I was like, okay, no problem. So the training chief, he took me into the co-ed dorms, male, female, this 3-story dorms, got me checked in there, got my linen, took me to the commissary, got my food, got me all settled. Later that evening, Mr. Watt, I forget his name, I think it was Darnell. Darnell came and picked me up. And I went to get in the car, and I thought, what was the passenger side? No, it was the driver's side, because in Japan they drive. So I was like, "Oh shoot, I'm sorry." He goes, "Oh no, you're driving." So
you did right.
He made me drive, man. I was like, "All right." So I'm like white knuckling, driving.
Hold on, Shay. Hold on. This guy throws you into the fire, man. First day on station, you're gonna do it from the opposite side. I would have been freaking out, man.
Well, yeah, I was like, because he had a Skyline, those really nice cars, and it was, man, he kept his car clean. I was like, bro, if I scratch it, I don't, I'm a broke airman. He goes, don't worry about it, just be careful. I know luckily nothing happened. We drove around the area around Yokota Air Base. Went to a small restaurant that he goes to and had some food and just hung out and shoot the bull. And then, just basically the day-to-day operation was we worked a day on, day off. Every 2 weeks you'd get a Kelly day, which was basically a three-day break.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of coming to work, you'd be off for 3 days. It's a nice mental break. But so the first couple of months on my day off, I'd go grab a backpack full of food and beer, and a bunch of the firemen would show me around the local area. But I had a Japanese, because we also had Japanese firefighters, like civilian firefighters, working with us.
Okay.
That whole SOFA agreement, or you have to have half of the national people, local people work with you on the base there. It was
Actually,
same
Shane,
thing.
before we go there, expand on that a little bit because our listeners around the world may not know what we're talking about when we talk about that. So, what does that mean, that SOFA agreement? When are you talking about Japanese people are actually coming on to an American base and working?
Yeah, the status, what the heck, status of forces agreement.
Right.
The military base and the U.S. military agrees that they will hire so many local, like in this sense, local, like they'll hire so many Japanese to work on the base. It can't just be all U.S. military.
Which is really, really great for us because we get exposed to a different culture.
It is. And so I was able, these Japanese, I never had one, the whole time there, I never had one bad incident or issue with any of the Japanese firefighters or any of the locals or anything else. And the only time I had an issue was with another U.S. serviceman or men. That's usually the norm. But the Japanese people were always hospitable. They knew you tried. The little Japanese you spoke, if at least you tried, then they would give you more respect and help you out. So they understood, Japanese, there's like 2,000 characters or letters or characters in their alphabet or whatever you want to call it. So they understand we're not going to get Japanese. But anyway, I had a Japanese firefighter, have him show me how to use the train system there in the local area. Like we went to the local train station. He said, okay, this train line, they all had different colors. He said, this line will go this way, this line will go that way. He showed me how to buy the tickets, like a little machine. You put your Japanese yen in, your coins. He showed me how to do all that. We took the train down to Tokyo. We walked around Tokyo. He showed me several things. So he got me really acclimated to the train, to where like within a couple of months, I was venturing by myself because a lot of times the guys didn't want to go anywhere after work. They wanted to work out and then go back to the dorm and just watch movies the rest of the day. I would most of the time I had a backpack full of food and I was on the train heading somewhere.
Wow,
going and doing something. So at the same time, I started taking up boxing. I found a local boxing gym. And the reason why I bring this up, because I actually tried out for the Air Force boxing team in 2000. If you type in like Shane CRONLEY and Air Force boxing tryouts, it'll show that I actually tried out. I went to Medina Air Force Base in Texas. They trained for a week, and then you had competition, with your people in your fellow weight class there. And I won the first match and then lost the second match to the judges. But I bring that up because if you have a talent, if you have a special, if you played softball or football, or if you're a wrestler, if you try out for the Air Force team, if you're going in the military, if you hear this in the military, try out for the Air Force team, because, and from my understanding now, a lot of people ain't taking up on it, like track and field. I mean, I was told that, they're always looking for people to try out for the Air Force team. So
yeah, and that's a great point. People think that when they get done with high school, if they join the military right out of high school, that their playing days are over. They're done. But that's not the case. I mean, you can play base level, or you can try out for Air Force level, which is a tremendous opportunity. And if they loved sports when they were in high school, keep fighting that fight, man. Play that on in the military when you join.
Absolutely. And I bring it up too because boxing with the Japanese, they're really quick and they're really technical. And the 2 years I was stationed there, I just wanted to box, just learn how to box and do it. The Air Force boxing camp thing was kind of like on a whim. I had people at the gym sign me up, and honestly, I did not think I was going to make it, because even getting more down the rabbit hole, and how I talked about Alaska earlier, me and another guy had been selected to go to Elmendorf, So I've been to both. I've been to Elmendorf, and I've been to Fairbanks, and then I've been to Anchorage. The bases near those two. But I went to Elmendorf for like a firefighter fitness school. We was there for a couple of days, and when I came back, I kid you not, when I came back, there on my answering machine in my dorm room was the manager or the person in charge of the base gym, and they're like, "You need to call us. You need to call us because about the Air Force boxing team, you've been selected to go."
Wow.
So I was like, I literally just got off the plane at Narita Airport, got in they always have a bus at Narita where you take a bus from Narita Airport to the base. And that's always a constant, like once or twice a day, they have these buses rolling. So 2 days later, I'm back on a plane flying back from Japan to Texas to get off.
Wow.
And it was crazy because
jet lag much?
Get in. Oh man, I was exhausted, but it was because I finally got to the base in bed at like 11, and they're like, be down in the lobby at 4. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like so excited, but I'm so tired. We get down there and everyone's sizing each other up and everyone's tired at the same time. And then the coach comes in. He goes, everyone go outside and get in the 2 white vans outside. So they get inside the van and we drive for like 20 minutes. And we're like, where the hell are we? What are we doing? Basically, we went to the other side of the flight line and we all got out. We stretched. He goes, okay, start running. And it was like an hour-long run that we had to do.
Oh, my
like,
gosh.
bam. Yeah. He was like, you didn't come here to get in shape. You came here just to tune yourself up before the tryouts. And then if you were good enough to make the Air Force team, then you could go on and fight for the Air Force. And, the guy who I fought, he was much better fighter than I am. He was really technical. He just kept tagging, he kept jabbing at me. But, I just did it to do it just for the hell of it. So
that's a great experience, though, Shane. Who in the heck can say that they had, were in Alaska, flew back to Japan, come right back to the United States to try out for the Air Force boxing team?
Yeah, it was a whirlwind experience, that's for sure. So, but after that, I just I had a year left, and I kind of did really the same thing the last year in the military in Japan. There was just get on train and go explore. Hang out, have a good time with the friends. And, when it came to a year out, they asked you, are you going to re-enlist or not? And
right.
I had never got in trouble other than one time. I was like, hey, you're supposed to have, they gave me LOR. They wrote me up for not having a hat on, but I had some run-ins with with one certain supervisor. I was just like, man, can the Air Force be full of guys like this guy? And I sat down and really had a long talk with my with the assistant chief, and he's like, look, I've never had nobody's had no issues with you, but you're having this issue with this one guy, and guess what? That's like how the Air Force is. You got these one kind of guys that can make it or break it for you. But he knew that I also talked a lot about getting out and becoming a civilian firefighter too. So, because I was like, the military is great. I had a great time, but I was like, I think it's maybe just the 4 years is good enough for me. So I can't say it was all because of one guy, but kind of sitting back and seeing how other people got in trouble for other ridiculous stuff. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna, I'd rather just, get out with my honorable discharge and no problems and get going. But, I had a great experience in the military. I was kind of a pain in the butt growing up. My parents, I lied a lot when I was growing up, and what cured me from lying was that I scratched the side of the fire truck one day checking it out, and I went and told my supervisor, and I was scared, and he said, you know what, you're not getting punished because you told the truth and you told us what had happened. If you had lied about it, you would have been out with an Article 15. It was nothing crazy scratch on the side of the door, but he's like, people lie. That really woke me up to like the lying aspect. The military had a big impact on me. It was, and that was at Wright-Patterson. That was like within the first year of Wright-Patterson. Like, growing up, I used to hide suspensions from high school from my parents, or hide smoking or chewing tobacco from my parents. And, I got suspended from the bus for like 2 days because I was just an out of control kid, fighting with bullies, basically, these guys who try to pick on me. I'd fight back and get in trouble. But I lied a lot, like, oh, nothing's happening. But when I got to the military, it's like,